Joining us now, founder and CEO of Independent Veterans of America, Paul Rieckhoff, who is host of the Independent Americans podcast. Let me play an exchange, actually, that President Trump had when he was questioned by a Ukrainian reporter.
So my question to you is whether or not the U.S. is ready to sell anti-air missile systems Patriot to Ukraine. We know that Russia has been pounding Ukraine really heavily right now.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there.
Wow.
And
I can see you very, it's amazing.
And me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw, actually.
They do want to have the missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available, They're very hard to get. We need them too. We were supplying them to Israel. And they're very effective.
Paul, that was a really interesting exchange, but I wonder, with so much attention going to the situation with Iran, if you think it's more or less likely that Zelensky is going to get the help he needs.
I think it's more likely. I think Trump wants a win, and I think he's changed his tone. That's a major change in tone from when he was yelling at Zelensky in the White House, right? And I think Trump's tone has been slowly changing, in part because he's a populist, and I think he's coming around to the fact that Ukraine is popular around the world, and especially here in America. Veterans like myself especially have been really making the case for Ukraine for a long period of time. The minerals deal was a big step forward, and now he's got a bipartisan Senate sanctions bill coming from Lindsey Graham that I think will drop in the next couple of weeks. It's going to produce added pressure. So he's moving in the right direction. He's still Trump, and he's still unpredictable. But I think if you're Zelensky, this is much better than where you were a couple of months ago.
So what would you make of a conversation now that he would have with Vladimir Putin?
Well, I hope he will put Putin on the defense. I hope he will stand with Ukraine and make it clear that Putin is the bad guy and Ukraine is the good guy. For too often, he was normalizing Putin. He was acting like he was somebody.
He does seem a little frustrated with him.
He does. And if that gets us to a better place for Ukraine, I think we should take it. Because Ukraine is still deep in the fight. The Russians still have 20,000 Ukrainian children. They're still bombing and being killed every day. I think the challenge is not to get distracted by other things. Obviously, we have to keep focused on Iran and our domestic security, but Ukraine continues to fight on bravely. And I think this is the fight of our time. And it's also in our national security interest to continue to degrade the Russian military. Ronald Reagan would have been thrilled if you said, you know what, we can take out tons of Russian forces without losing an American life. That would be a good deal for most Republicans, and if Trump gets there, later, we'll have to take it.
So today's NATO declaration, however, is also the first one that does not directly condemn Russia's aggression in this war against Ukraine. Are there concerns both that the U.S. and NATO nations could be at least rhetorically peeling back, and there could be consequences of that?
Yeah, they shouldn't be. I mean, now's the time to put the pedal down and to increase the pressure on Russia in every single way. And I think there's another piece here. I have long advocated for Ukraine to be admitted to NATO. I think they should have been admitted already. There is no more seasoned, no more tested, no more experienced fighting force on the planet than Ukraine right now. We need an ally like Ukraine in NATO. And the longer we wait, I think the longer we are at a strategic disadvantage in America and across NATO. So I hope this will add momentum to that discussion, too. And we see a day soon where Ukraine is formally a part of NATO.
I'm literally out of time, but I have to ask you about the comparison the president made to the bombs that were dropped in Iran to Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
I mean, he's just consistently out of touch, especially on military and defense issues, and he's too loose with his tongue, and too often he's deciding foreign policy by Twitter and X, and he needs to stop doing it because it's bad for America and bad for everybody.
Paul Rieckhoff, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Your kids are out of school at the end of today.
One more day. One more day.
Have a great summer.
Thank you. You too.